Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar, Support Portal and More with Paul Martin. Today, we're going to show you just a few of the resources available to our AMC customers, and we'll also give you an opportunity to ask Paul any technical questions that you may have. Just whip through some introductions quickly here. My name is Kelly Nauman, and I'm a Customer Success Project Manager here at AMC Technology. I've worked in the customer success space for about 6 years, and my role here is to collaborate with both our customers and our teams internally to ensure that customers like you are happy and reaching those desired outcomes that you're looking for. Joining me today is the star of our show, Paul Martin. Paul has been with AMC for over 21 years now. He's our most experienced solutions engineer, and he works with a wide swath of customers from global enterprise organizations to small 5-seat shops. He has seen it all and does it all. So before we get into everything, I just have a couple housekeeping items and just a couple of quick teasers for you. This webinar here, we do have a Q&A portion at the end, but go ahead and submit your questions at any time using the questions panel in your GoToWebinar panel there off to the right. After today's webinar, we will be sending out the recording and slides to all of our registrants, so be on the lookout for that. And just a couple of news and updates before we dig in again. One of the things I wanted to give you guys a heads up about is our DaVinci Workspace. This is a new offering that takes our DaVinci flexibility even further by allowing you to integrate with your homegrown applications and build custom workflows to get you that ideal agent experience that you're looking for. We also have some MVP program updates that we're really excited about. I won't get into details here. That's like a whole nother webinar probably, but check with us for more details on that. I would encourage you to visit our news and events page on our website and our LinkedIn page here for more AMC news and fun facts. So here's our agenda for today. We're going to start off with a customer portal tour. Paul's going to take you through that, how to open a case and track them. Everything you need to know in that space. We're going to go over our ideas forum. We are also going to give you a short introduction to the new DaVinci App Gallery, and then we're going to save a few minutes at the end for our APA Ask Paul Anything questions and answers section. Oh, I went too far. So at this point, Paul, I need to turn it over to you. You ready to go?
Sure, let's go.
All right.
While you're getting it over there, I always want to comment on the pictures they decide to put on those slides. It looks like I'm really struggling to get an actual smile out there, unfortunately. All right. So Kelly, do you want to talk about the first thing we have coming up with our customer portal?
Yes, thank you. So just really briefly, the customer portal is a great resource because it allows you to quickly reach a support resource versus having to send out an email and maybe it gets buried or it gets missed if your SE is available on vacation, et cetera, et cetera. So this will allow you to easily open a case anytime and share those important details that the SEs are looking for versus having a whole lot of back and forth, giving them the information that they need to troubleshoot your issue. And so Paul's going to demonstrate, it gives you great visibility into your case history as well. So take it away.
Excellent. And to get there, https support@amctechnology.com. So we'll jump right in. And again, hello and welcome, everyone. Great to see some familiar names on the attendee list. So what Kelly was just saying about the tour, it's kind of all in the same place anyway. So we're going to do the help desk and the ideas at this point. The forums is out there. You can use it. It doesn't get as much traction as we wish it would. So please feel free to go out there and add some form information in there so we can get that going a little bit more than it is today. Profile wise, we are going to touch on that a little bit just when we go into the help desk. It's called help desk because it does a little bit of everything really, because we're not going to touch on the knowledge base today as well, but you'll see that some of that does come in with the help desk area. So my little clicker isn't working. Okay, so one of the things I want to bring up is that when you're on here, there is instructions on how to use it. There's the support overview. I'm going to touch on a couple of these things down the end because we did have some questions come in from the registrants about just SLAs and support in general. So I'll have a couple little slides in there, but definitely, if you have other questions on that, just please put them into Kelly, and Kelly will bring them out. If you do have an issue with this portal, click on here. It'll just bring up whatever you're using Outlook most likely, and just kind of put in a little prefix information, and then you can send it off to us to help out with whatever's going on. So as we mentioned, we're going to the first part we're going to go into here is we're going to go through the help desk. So the first thing with help desk is you can go into it, but you're not going to do a whole lot without signing in first. So let's go ahead and actually talk a little bit about that sign-in process. Now, when you're working with your SE at the very beginning, you should already have the information you need to get into the portal. If you do not, or you want to add additional people, then you can just send an email off to support@amctechnology.com. Give us a first name, last name, the role, and their email address. That can be a disposition list as well. If you want to actually have the whole list, or have a list in case you have people coming and going, that you may want to give that list instead. That way, you're always covered. You'll end up with some emails. They come from no-reply@amctechnology.com. That is really, I think, a standard. People do that all the time. You're really, what we're looking for you is to have that communication through that ticket, so you can see it and we can see it, and that way you have it, you can track it. So with that, I'm just going to kind of go through that little process. If you do send one in, you're going to see an email like this. Just click on the AMC Technology portal invitation. It gives you, or brings you to the page. It'll have a link a registration code already in there. You just have to go ahead and click on it and move forward with that. Once you're in there, you're going to see this little page here, and you're going to see these blue areas. These blue areas usually mean that there's something you need to do. Here, we need to confirm that our email address is actually accurate, because there's things like forgot password and different things like that. If you don't confirm it, you're going to have to contact us to get back in again, because there's no way you're going to be able to confirm email address due to phishing and things like that. We don't allow that to go through. So great to do this. It's reiterated in the email when you get it, but please do the confirmation. You'll get this email, confirm the registration, and once you do that, you'll go back to the web page and you will be successfully confirmed, which is great. And now you can use things like forget password, and you'll see the blue box is gone, so you're ready to work, to move forward. So with that said, we're over here. What I did was I actually kind of logged out, so that you can see the login process again. And now that I'm on the help desk, you can see that I'm not really seeing a whole lot. I can still use the actual knowledge base, but it's asking me to please sign in before I can really do anything. So we'll go ahead and do the sign in process. And here you'll end up putting in your information. Now, normally what we ask you to do is put in your email address. Everybody else is doing that. You don't have to, but I would say more than less, the people that come back to me and say, hey, I forgot my username, are the ones that didn't use their email address. So good idea to use your email address and then just log in. So you can see here, I'm using Frank Wise. Frank Wise is now logged in. You can tell with the information that's up here. And what we're going to go ahead and do, as you can see down here, more things opened up than what there were there before. We're going to go ahead and open up a new case. This first slide is just kind of give you a little glimpse of what's pre-filled and some, some actual placeholders for you to put information in, and areas where you can actually might have some information already in there, and you just have to fill in the rest of it. So I'll just quickly go over to the slide where it's already pre-filled. This area up here, hey, just saying, consider your case you're about to open. We do have the ideas. If you think it's an enhancement, go ahead and just go into the ideas, put it in there. So we'll go ahead and just put something in. Our agent cannot log in, and automatically, as I mentioned earlier, the knowledge base kind of comes in here. Now, this could be web pages as well. For this particular case, it's just knowledge base articles. You can look at these articles, see if one of them actually solves your case for you, so you don't even have to be bothered opening it up. You can show more to see more of those cases. And if, in this case, we can't find anything, so we're going to go ahead and open up this case. So as you saw earlier, the actual contact did come in automatically, but the customer didn't. And the reason for that is if you're a partner, if you're an enterprise customer, you may actually have different entities that you're working with, different accounts within your business, or maybe different businesses that you deal with from a partner perspective. So this is here. You do need to go in. You do need to select it. And once you select it, it will just come into the field. Then we go on to case type. You do have, as you see, as I mentioned, the enhancement is here. You can put it in there. At some point, we may take that out just because we do have the ideas, and you can put it in here, but it will get converted to an idea. Questions, we'd like them to come through here. It's for your benefit for ours. It's captured. You can go back to it at any point in time. It'll always be here. As we know, sometimes emails get lost or you archive them and having a hard time finding them. Problems in configuration. We understand most people probably don't know the difference between them. That's why you're creating the ticket in the first place. So feel free to pick whichever one you think it is. If it's a problem, go ahead. If we feel it's configuration, once it gets in there, we can change it over later. And then security, with the new iPass and everything we have today, for some of the customers out there that we have, you may have some security concerns or problems or whatever you think is going on, that you can put it under the security heading if you wish. Requests and professional service requests are kind of go with managed service contracts or standard contracts. And with a managed service, of course, you can request anything, anytime, and we can get something on the calendar for you. And if you're in a standard contract, then you may need to have some professional services for something you might want to get done. The priorities, in our case, critical, there's really only one critical. It's down and the whole system, nobody can log in, nobody can do anything, and there's no way for me to bring the solution back up. I tried everything. And normally those are things like service password has changed, or the server, of course, has smoke coming out of the back or something. That would cause you into a critical state. Everything else from a high, medium, low, they all come in, as you saw earlier, came in with a medium. That's what they normally start off, and then you make a decision based on what's going on with that. So if you got multiple agents having issues, of course, you're going to put it in as high. If it's just one agent, hey, I just put a new agent like this one and try to put them in, then it's more of a medium. What environment is impacted? Again, only production can have high or critical, and in this case, he wants production, but you could have like a test or a QA or something like that box. And then remote access, that's mostly if we have VPN access. If not, I mean, if you have like WebEx, whatever it happens to be, if we can get in, you can still put yes in here. I'm just putting it as no. Description, so when you're putting a title in, it should be very short. Your description should be what is happening with this case. Well, give us as much information as possible. This field, where are the logs? We need the logs. I think if for some of the people that are on here, I will ask that. Even if we create this case for you, you're still going to have to go in here. We need those logs, and we need to know where they're at. If you have a secure site, put them onto the site, tell us where they're at. If you're putting them on our FTP site, give us the actual log name so we know where to go get it. Now, FTP, we know it's you because you're logging in with your username as your company. For the other ones, we do need to know exactly where they are. Little tip, I know some of you probably have told, if not, that the premise, if you got the premise or a hybrid solution, you're going to have premise logs, and they're on that server that you created for us, that VM. These logs are out there and they are going to overwrite. Now the adapter logs, not so much in some cases, but the server type logs, they will overwrite. And for you to figure out what's going on with those logs, if you type in less than end, then you're going to find the end of the time at which you opened up that actual log, and that's where the overwrite stopped. So if you look at the timestamp before that, or after that, sorry, and before that, and you subtract the before, after before, you will see the actual time that you have for this particular log. In this case, you can see it's the same date and about 2-hour difference. So this log is overwriting within 2 hours. A recommendation there would probably be to up the logs to a point to give you time, if a case comes in, to actually get these logs to us, because once they're overwritten, we need to wait for that case to be recreated. Business impact, how many agents are having this issue? Is it everybody? Is it just one? Is it a couple? Just kind of help us out where we need to go with that. Steps to recreate, definitely great. If we can recreate this in our own environment, we can definitely help out even faster, get this to a resolution as quick as possible. Is there a workaround in place? Kind of helps us out to understand where to go with this. If there's no workaround, then we may need to look into it a little bit different. If there is, then we may need to understand where that difference is with and what your workaround was for that. Of course, it also helps alleviate some of the pressure to try to get that out there as quickly as possible as well. Number of agents, just tell us if it's one, many, lots, whatever you want to put in there. And then this is where I was talking about the information's already in here for some of this. You just have to fill in the blanks for these. If it's like a TAPI customer, you don't have to worry about like a login ID But it is nice to have as much information as possible. More information we have, quicker we can resolve this. When did it last work? If you said something like, hey, last week, and then we'd be asking questions like, hey, were there MS patches put on? Was there anything done? Basically trying to put on and find out where that might help us get to where we need to go on this. Just some details about that environment change if there is one. In this case, he just added that new agent. The FTP information is down here for your site. As I said, here's Best Bikes. When he logs in, it's going to go into the Best Bikes area, and then here's your password to do that. And then you can go out and you put something on our FTP site. If it's 20 megs or higher, you can put it on this actual case if it's less than 20 megs. So you do have that ability. So if you're in a test system, usually the logs are a lot less. You can put them on here with no problem. Once you have all this information filled in, we're going to submit this in and get ourselves a ticket. And you can see, you go back to that kind of that beginning screen, but now you can see we have a ticket in here. If you want to separate this a little bit, hey, I just want to look at my open tickets, I just want to look at my closed, I want to look at everything I have, you have that ability up here. And just note that all cases that do come in here from anybody, whether it be a distribution list or somebody, one of your peers, you're going to be able to see them all. You'll be able to go in. This is per account, so you'll see everything that's in here. So when it says my open cases, it's my as in account, not just you. So we jumped into this case. We'll kind of quickly, the information for it is on the top. You still see the information with the 20 megabytes and the FTP information. If you need to still put out some actual files that are larger than 20 meg. So I'll go ahead and we'll just go in and add a comment just so you can see what that looks like. So in this case, we click the comment, add comment, it comes up, you put in your information for that specific comment. You can still actually choose files to put out onto each comment. So if you forgot to put something earlier, you still have that option to put it on a comment. So if you wanted to put in a screenshot or something, great, especially a screenshot with a timestamp, because it's timestamp, if you forget to put it into the details of it, then we can actually see it in a screenshot and go on from there. So this one I'll put it in here just so we can go ahead and see what happens on the bottom. So in the bottom where it said timeline, you can see the timeline starts to fill up from latest to earliest. And you can see the one that I put in, and we can see one just for demonstration purposes. I already threw one in here for that specific comment that came through to state what's going on or some information from me, and it will continue to go on in the timeline so you can see what's going on. The last of this is the buttons down the bottom. So you have your update. That would be if you just happen to be in line with your SE on this and you're going back and forth, you may want to update this to see the timeline change, or maybe have it open in the background. You want to go back to it later. You can just click on the update to see if there's any updates on that. You can close the case. So if, let's say, we gave you a hotfix or we gave you instructions with configuration, whatever it happens to be, you can go in here and close it out once you're satisfied with it. We'll probably be following up with you anyway, and if so, we may end up just closing it for you if everything's good. Or you got in here and you realized, wait a minute, this is something on the back end, so I can actually just cancel this. I'm not even going to bother with this case. I'll just cancel it. So you do have that option. And that kind of concludes just creating a ticket on that. We'll move on to our next area.
Awesome, thank you, Paul. And again, if you guys have questions about the customer portal, feel free to drop them in that questions box and we'll get to them at the end. So next, we are going to get into the ideas forum, which is definitely the best way to get your ideas over to us and help us influence our roadmap. It's very easy to see what other people are asking for and to vote on enhancements that you like or could be beneficial to you. Our product management team is really keyed into this resource. So it is definitely the #1 way to get visibility and traction on your enhancement requests. Oh, back to you.
Excellent, thank you, Kelly. So as Kelly said, we're going to jump into the ideas. Again, it's still on the customer portal. I keep showing you these big boxes you can click, but you can go up here and use any of your your menu items as well. So what I did was, as you can see, signed out again. Always want to give you that kind of idea of what this is going to look like if we do actually sign in. So the blue box comes up and we're in ideas and we're looking at product suggestions, and but you can see that there's a little bit more information than we saw on the actual help desk. We can actually go in here and read these and still look at them and do what we want with them. Notice that the vote icon is kind of grayed out. So can't really do a whole lot, but you can do a little bit of this. And you can search. Normally, the top hot and new for us is usually the same, because we go through these at least once every 3 weeks, which was our regular development sprint, and they'll check them and decide whether we're going to accept them or reject them. Sometimes they may stay a little later, looking to see if there's any extra votes that go on those before we actually make those decisions. If you want to filter it down a little bit, you can do the status to see what has been accepted, what hasn't been, what has been rejected. You can do it from all time, or you can narrow it down a little bit more if you wish. So Frank logged in again, and one of the things you probably saw really quickly was the icons on the vote just kind of enhanced a little bit. They're now available to you. So you can go ahead and click on those vote buttons for anything that's new, or if you want to go and look at some of the other things, even the rejected ones, I believe you can still vote on them. So you can take a look at that. Maybe if we get a whole lot of votes, then it's something we may want to take up. So what I wanted to do is kind of show you how to create one. One of the things on the top here is it's just a little note to say, hey, that you may have to scroll at the bottom. If there was a lot of them there, as you could see when that first screen, you couldn't see this, but it actually was down below. So what I did was I just threw it in inactive state. We don't have any actual ones in an active state. Like I said, they're either active, accepted, or they're rejected. We don't usually do an inactive. So with doing that, it brought this up to the front, and I can go ahead and actually start adding in a new, submitting a new idea. So this guy is actually trying to go in from American Motors Company and looking for seatbelts for his Gremlin. I will state, hey, we do actually get those. We do not normally in here because they have to sign in first, but I do get calls, and I will help out once in a blue moon if I know what the actual issue is. But we'll go ahead and put something that's a little more oriented to what we're trying to do here. So add an order list in DaVinci. For those of you who are using it, you know what you basically use an old term, WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. They're in the order that you put them in. You cannot move them around. So yeah, it's a good idea. Why don't we put that in? And we'll go ahead and submit that. The product suggestion, once you've submitted it, it's going to come in. It's going to go to the new tab, and it's going to show up in the top of the list. You have now just created your first idea, and people can comment on it. And normally what we'll do is we'll comment on those just to give you some information where it's going and what we're doing at it, just probably a thank you and things like that. So from your perspective, you will get this actual automated email just saying, hey, the Dear Frank email, and just telling you some things that we're going to do with that, and how, what our process is for going through these and how we make decisions for moving forward with an accepted or rejected. And that kind of concludes the idea side. That's very, very quick. There's not a whole lot to it. You can get it done pretty quickly. So what I want to do here is kind of talk a little bit about just where AMC is going and what the future. I know it was the big reveal with curbs and all, but it has been revealed a little while ago, and you probably received emails within starting, I think, last June about your upgrades and different things that are going on. And pretty excited here at AMC Technology because of this new logo change with DaVinci. But what comes with that is the fact that we're now going into the cloud as well. Is everybody going cloud? Yes. The platform as a service, great. We have we built that platform. We've been doing that over the past couple of years, getting it to where we needed it, and then the big reveal, and then also your contact centers as a service, the ability to mix and match, which comes into the hybrid side, which I'll jump over to the end. But the premise is still there. Hey, you still have it, you still can use it. But if from a hybrid perspective, you want to add some channels, some digital channels with your premise information you already have, you have that ability as well. When we get into, we're going to show a couple slides on the App Gallery, so that'll kind of help you out with seeing some of what I'm talking about there. The other thing is Contact Canvas 6.5 earlier, end of life is June of this year. You would have, like I said, you would have received some emails, hopefully, that would have stated that's happening, both back in June and probably in December. And you should be receiving them from myself and the rest of the SEs, just trying to get you into an upgrade state, because we don't want everybody trying to do it in June. There's no way we can handle all of them in 1 month. So we need to try to get them kind of through the door as soon as possible.
All right, Paul, thank you for the overview on the ideas forum. Again, if you guys have any ideas that that you want to submit to us. We love to see them. Every time I get a notification that we've got a new one, I get so excited. So definitely post those in there and let us know. And then also, if you've got an older version of Contact Canvas, reach out to us directly and we'll get you upgraded to the latest and greatest. So with that, we're going to move over into the App Gallery. The App Gallery lets you see at a glance what integrations are available to you right out of the box. It gives you the flexibility that we're known for. You can add any integration directly to your Creator Studio account. So if you're planning on making a change to your environment, maybe you're playing around with the cloud, it's a great tool to allow you to quickly connect DaVinci to something new. Paul, show us what it looks like.
Will do. So when you go out to our main page, amctechnology.com, not support at amctechnology.com, but like just www, you will come or can be able to come and get to this, and it's just the app gallery area of that, where you keep all of our apps. And the reason why I'm kind of bringing this up too and bringing it into a support type demo is that we did make a pretty, I guess, I don't know, you call it a major change, but we did make a change enough to have one of our customers say, hey, did you lose all your vendors? So I wanted to bring it up in here to give you a realization of what we did and why we did it. And it was to get it onto the main site, of course, and be able to show all our apps. So again, the reasoning for this was if you're used to going into here, this Creator Studio, you will see that all the apps used to be down here. And we just replaced it with a get more apps. Whenever you go out and you create your account, you're going to get usually three simple areas. You're going to get this little configuration app. It's always in the installed side or the configured typed apps area. And you're going to get our simulator, great for doing any kind of development work. You don't need a phone system to be able to have the simulator. If you want to use our trial uses a simulator. And as I probably stated to some of you, if you wanted to go out there and use it on certain ones, there are some links and you can just go out and quickly get an actual trial up in your CRM, probably within like 15 minutes in some cases, if not less. The other one is a speed dial. We feel everybody probably wants to use the speed dial, so we just put it down here automatically for you to use. If you don't want to, you don't need to. These are the available apps, remember, not the actual installed ones or the configured apps that usually go up into here. So we're going to go back to this page, but this time notice that up here we're actually again logged in as Frank. So what we're doing here is because we came from Creator Studio, we automatically logged in, and we can now pick and choose apps. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the DaVinci Contact Center, and then we come into the actual area where you can read up a little bit about it. We do have an install button, and we have a leave a review button. If you're in here and you like what you see, I think you will. The fact that you can get a demo up, like I said, in probably less than 15 minutes, speaks volumes to just how quickly this stuff works and how you can get everything up and running. But please, leave a review if you can. So I'm just going to go ahead and just install this app so I can show you what happens. So we install it. You can see now we're in an uninstall state. And what we're going to do is click on Frank up here just so that we can go back to Creator Studio. And that's mostly for refreshing and everything else. So if I click on there, I'm coming back to the Creator Studio, and you can see that that the app is now here to be ready and be used. So again, from a support perspective, they didn't go anywhere. I mean, they did. They went from this page to the actual app gallery, but you can still get to them and you can still bring in whatever you need. So if you want to bring in one of your CRMs when you're out there, you could do that as well. You need to bring in one of the CTIs, you have that ability. Or if you wanted something like chat, like I said, one of the things that you could do if you're on a premise-based system and you wanted to bring in a digital channel, say an SMS or something like Twilio or Nexmo or whatever it happens to be, because you're not ready to make that full commitment to move from the cloud or move from premise and move into the cloud. This gives you that option to go ahead and try something, because again, AMC, only one in the world doing this right now, where you have that ability to mix and match anything you want to do. And that pretty much concludes the tour on that app gallery and why it was in here. And as Kelly had put on, I think, one of the first slides, we do have some other webinars coming up to go deep dive a little bit more into app gallery and also help out with that whole, hey, I'm thinking about moving to the cloud, what should I do? Or I'm on the cloud, I want to move to something else, or whatever it happens to be, I want to add a digital channel. You will have that ability to ask those questions on there too, or if you have them here, feel free. We are going to go into the ask anything, but as I mentioned, we did have a few questions already come in from a registrant perspective. as I had shown earlier, and I'll show it in the next slide actually, if you go to those links that I had showed you on the probably the second slide in on my slides, that you can go into and use any one of these abilities to contact us. The online is the best because it captures it. If you phone in, we're going to create an online ticket anyway. And once that ticket's created, we're going to send you off that information because we're going to need you to give us the logs in some way, shape, or form, whether it be on the ticket or be actually, over, over the phone, letting you know to go onto that ticket to actually get them on there. Emails do not automatically create tickets. We would have quite a mess of all the different emails that do come in to support. So, but we can convert them over, and we will normally bring them over. What we don't like about emails, of course, is that they get lost. You could have 100 email coming in a day, and then sometimes you forget to get to that other one. So again, online, if you can do the online, please do it. If not, if you want to put in an online ticket and then call us about maybe a critical issue, that's fine. We're going to reiterate a couple of those things about check your password and things like that, but we probably will still need logs to understand what fully went on. So that said, the other thing was, SLAs. As I mentioned, you do have that area down here that if you click on these areas, this is instructions, and this one down here was the actual support area that I'm in right now, the overview. And here is a little bit more of an explanation of what those priorities are when you were opening up that ticket and what your expected response time is. So that said, we're going to go into the Q&A, and I think I did a little bit better than last time from a speed perspective. Unfortunately, it might have been a little too fast, but you do have the video to go back and check anything out that I might have already said. So Kelly, take it away.
All right, thank you so much, Paul. I really appreciate it. While we wait, I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to get your questions typed in. So while we do that, I did want to plug the webinar that Paul mentioned briefly, 5 ways DaVinci will bring you to the cloud. We strongly encourage anybody who's even looking at the cloud to sign up and register for that. Even if you can't make the time, it's Tuesday, May 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern. You will get a recording just like you will for this one. So definitely a must attend if you can, or at least get the recording. Great. So again, I have a couple of questions to start things off with, Paul, if you don't mind. Maybe I was hoping you could go into, what are some of the things that you wish our customers knew about DaVinci and how to support and troubleshoot it and all that good stuff?
Well, a couple of things they should know about DaVinci, and I think, like you say, a lot of them, that's going to come into that 5 ways of going in here. But DaVinci is again, maybe I should go back to that slide, but it's a platform as a service. It's a contact center as a service. It's the old SaaS. I mean, it's everything you're going to need to get your contact center up and running. Now, there's some areas that you may not have seen that actual app for whatever it is you want. So there's a couple options for that too. Let us know. We may be wanting to build that out, or we may be going to the vendor and they may be building it out. And also, if you guys wanted to play around with it, you have that ability. If you have some strong development teams, we do have the ability that you can go create your own apps too. But definitely, DaVinci is the way to go. And there's going to be 2 sides of this. You do have to get your server updated. The logo's changed, but it also means that we've also moved away from some vulnerabilities that we had. So that's why we're really pushing end of life on June this year.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, actually, we did have a question come in, and I think you answered it as part of that question. So Jeff wants to know, what if the app gallery doesn't have the CRM or CTI that I'm moving to? I think you hit on it.
Exactly. Yeah. Again, vendor, us, or yourself can get an app in there, no problem.
Awesome. Okay. Here's one going back to the support portal, the customer portal. I always want to call it support portal, but it's customer portal.
I do too.
Either way, we know what you got. So when I make a new case, do I have to fill out all of the info on that form? Or is there some things that are must have and some are just nice to have?
Kelly, I was going to go back and check and see the different ones that had little stars. Of course, there's only specific ones that do. Not everything is required, but the more you put in there, the more we're going to be able to resolve this quickly. If we don't have something in there that is important and we got to go back and forth with you to get that information, it's just going to elongate the whole process. I would just go ahead and fill it out as much as possible. I think some of you already know, dealing with even me, that I don't need all of that, but on that case, you do know I do sometimes come back and ask you for specific information. So the more you put in, the better it is. But are they all required? No. That's the short answer.
Right, great. I think you did say, you did touch on the fact that, up to date, like logs captured as quickly as you can are really key to nailing down the issue.
Exactly. Like, isn't that 2 hours? That's not a real long time. And if you don't get those to us within those 2 hours, we're probably not going to be able to solve that issue, unfortunately.
Great. Cool. Thank you. All right. So a couple more questions here. So we have a lot of different integrations, as you know, Paul, but do they all work the same, or do some have do some work differently than others? Like, so if, in other words, for me to phrase that differently, if for customers who are moving to a different CRM, will they get the same experience in that new CRM?
Well, that's probably going to have to be a no answer to that. And that's the reasoning behind that is one, and I really don't want to pick out any specific Salesforces. Let's just, or Salesforces, any specific apps. Yeah, whoops. But let's just face it, some of them have been out a lot longer than others. So we've had a lot longer to deal with them, and they've had a lot longer to build additional functionality. So no, if you're moving from one that's been around for a long time to one that hasn't, and I mean the specific one, not because the company has been around for a long time, because in some cases, some companies, as we know, came into this playing area a lot later than others, but they've been in this specific playing area for a lot longer than others that may have been around for a lot longer. So no, that there is going to be definitely some differences in the functionality that you may get depending on the CRM that you actually have in play.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's so important for our customers to give us a really good lead time. As soon as they know that they're moving, I would encourage everybody to get in touch with us so we can sort of flesh that out, so we can see, what gaps do we need to fill, or are there any changes that we need to make sure that your needs are being met in your new space.
Correct.
Thank you.
And again, AMC has been around for a long time, and I think most of we're pretty agnostic about how we deal with some of these things. So we have partnered with some other ones that we do. If you're asking for something specific, we may, if you're looking for us to do the whole thing, let's say, we are going to lean a little bit more towards, say, a Twilio or a Nexmo, because we are partnered with some of these people to do the whole thing, get everything in there for you, and actually build out. As I think some people probably know, there's something like Twilio has a Twilio Flex, where it kind of comes as one package, but also Twilio, the API side of things, where you can just build it any way you want. That comes right down to the IVRs and everything else. So those of course take a little longer. So as Kelly mentioned, definitely lead time. This is not something that just happens overnight if you're going down a Twilio world for the API. But nice thing about that is the consumption base. You're only paying for what you use. So if you're like a and maybe I'll use, well, Amazon's probably a bad one to use, but let's just say you were something like Amazon, where you got a lot of agents that are working near Christmas, Black Friday, but through the summer, maybe not as many. Though Amazon probably is selling everything and the same amount for everything, but you do have that ability. You're from a consumption-based perspective, you're slowing down at those times and not paying for it, so it's always nice. I'm sorry, Kelly, go ahead.
Oh, no, the floor is yours completely. So we've got a little bit of extra time. So here's a question that came in. Who should I contact if I need help migrating to a new cloud platform? This is kind of a spoiler for our upcoming webinar, right?
Well, we definitely want you to contact us. And I know this specific webinar was really pushed out to our existing customers. And as Kelly said, if you guys have any plans to move to the cloud, reach out to us. We're here to help you guys. And if there's something there that's already there, or maybe as Kelly said, it may not be there, but you're thinking about moving to it, then come on and come to us, and we'll figure out what we need to do to get that in play. Because one, we're here for you. We want to make sure that you are satisfied and happy. So if we also want to be sure that if you're moving into any new products that you're going to be satisfied and happy as well. So again, just reach out to us if you're planning on doing that, and go to this webinar. Understand some of the things that we plan that would help you to maybe move into the cloud, and that could be full move, or maybe, like I said earlier, in a hybrid type situation.
Yeah, so many of our customers are looking at this now. If they're not already there, we encourage you to reach out to us, but also keep in mind, we will be reaching out to you as well. So expect those questions to be coming up as we engage with you guys, down the road. So it's definitely something top of mind in our space. So Paul, I think that covers about all the questions that we had for now. Do you want to jump to that last slide?
Sure, and if you do have any other questions, of course, just send them off. We'll answer them as time permits.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, great. I think, as I said, that about wraps it up. We do so appreciate you guys sharing your time with us today. This slide we will send to you. We're going to send the whole slide deck after this call with some additional resources, some helpful links, that we touched on during our webinar today. So be on the lookout for those along with the recording. You've got Paul's email here. You also have mine. So if you're not sure where to start, these are two really good spots for any kind of question that you have. We're always available. And if we don't know the answer, we can definitely get you to the right answer. Lastly, before we wrap up, again, Paul touched briefly on the upcoming end of life for older versions of Contact Canvas. So if you are running one of those older versions, definitely reach out to us as soon as possible. Again, we will be reaching out to you as well, because we definitely want to schedule a time to get you upgraded to the latest and greatest. In the meantime, stay tuned for those recordings and the slides and more information from us. And again, thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you have a great day.
Excellent. Thank you, Kelly, and thank you, everyone. Talk to you later.
Thank you, Paul. Absolutely.